Welcome to This Explainer. Right now, we are unpacking a massive, yet oddly silent shift in how we get around, and honestly, how we pay for it. If you've looked at your vehicle expenses lately and felt a sudden wave of sticker shock, well, you are absolutely not alone. Today, we're going to explore a very specific, modern mystery. Why are car costs suddenly skyrocketing? And why is the traditional model of car ownership just fundamentally breaking down right before our eyes? Get ready, because you're about to learn something entirely new about the hidden economics parked right in your driveway.
Okay, let's dive into this. If you've been incredibly frustrated by sudden, massive repair bills recently, consider yourself completely validated. Think about it. Just a few short years ago, a rock hitting your windshield meant a quick trip to the mechanic and, maybe 150 euros out of pocket, no big deal. But today, that exact same crack can cost you up to 2,000 euros. Literally. We're going to break down exactly why this is happening, where on earth that money is actually going, and most importantly, how you can protect your wallet moving forward.
Moving right into Section 1, the insurance chaos, and how companies are pushing away risk. Let's treat this a bit like a detective story, okay? Our first major clue lies straight with the insurance companies. If you drive a modern car, they are actively trying to shed the risk of weather events and high mileage. And here is the literal price tag of all that chaos. Not too long ago, basic policies that covered your glass and natural events were, well, incredibly affordable, maybe an extra 100, 150 euros. Now, those exact same fundamental coverages have absolutely exploded, pushing past 1,300 to 1,400 euros a year just for standard policies. The safety net has basically morphed into a massive financial burden.
Which brings us to Section 2, the true cost of technology and the hidden price we're all paying.
Now, it's super easy to just point the finger and blame greedy insurance corporations for these wild price hikes, but the truth is actually structural. Take notice of this acronym, ADAS, or Advanced Driver Assistance Systems. A piece of glass on your car is no longer just a piece of glass. It is a highly sensitive computer, housing complex arrays of cameras and sensors. When you replace a windshield today, you aren't just swapping out the glass. You are paying for the incredibly costly mandatory recalibrations of all these internal systems. A simple chip from a tiny pebble now triggers a whole domino effect of high-tech labor.
And then add to that this new reality. Hail is the new climate normality. It used to be that a sudden summer hailstorm was this rare, unlucky, once-in-a-decade thing. Now, it's practically scheduled programming. It's almost funny in a really dark way. A 10-minute weather event while you're just inside getting groceries can completely ruin your financial month. Because these intense weather events are so incredibly common now, they have completely broken the traditional mathematical models that insurance companies used to rely on. So, the crucial point is this. Considering these exorbitant fixed costs and the fierce depreciation of modern vehicles, does it still make any economic sense for a private individual to go out and buy a 40,000 euro flagship car? The whole concept of outright owning your primary travel vehicle is rapidly losing its financial logic. I mean, if the car is going to drain your wallet every single time it hails or a sensor needs a reset, we desperately need to rethink how we consume mobility.
That brings us to Section 3, the dual-track strategy, or splitting your mobility.
If the old model of just buying a nice car is fundamentally broken, how on earth do we survive this? Well, the analysis proposes splitting your mobility needs down two completely different paths. Here is exactly how the dual-track strategy breaks down. For the city, you own a cheap electric city car. Think of it as your pack mule, super low maintenance, incredibly cheap to run for those daily commutes. But for long trips or holidays, you use short-term rentals. By renting the big travel car only when you actually need it, you completely avoid being bled dry by uncontrollable maintenance, expensive tires, and out-of-control insurance premiums.
Now let's look at Section 4, the crossroads. Do you rent or buy? It's the ultimate high-mileage dilemma.
But hey, what if the dual track just isn't for you, and you absolutely need a primary car for heavy daily use? Well, your next best move depends entirely on exactly how many kilometers you drive every single year. And this brilliantly illustrates the breakdown. If you drive under 20,000 kilometers a year, long-term rental wins hands down. It gives you a perfectly predictable expense and zero worries about sudden insurance spikes. However, if you drive over 25,000 to 30,000 kilometers a year, and crucially, you do not have a business VAT number, the math completely flips. Renting becomes terribly uneconomical because of harsh penalties for those extra kilometers, making buying the most rational path forward.
But I do have a really quick warning for those high-mileage drivers out there. Even though purchasing is the mathematically rational choice for you, it comes with a harsh reality check.
By owning that high-mileage car, you must absorb the intense costs of comprehensive or casco insurance all by yourself. Plus, all that extraordinary maintenance we talked about earlier, that falls squarely on your shoulders. So yeah, you dodge the rental mileage penalties, but you take on all the financial risk of the high-tech sensors and the completely unpredictable weather.
This all brings us to a rather sobering realization, which is summed up perfectly in this quote from the analysis. The car has become an unpredictable industrial cost. Think about that. The era of viewing the automobile as a safe financial asset, a reliable investment, or purely an economic status symbol. It's effectively dead. Today, a modern vehicle is a volatile liability that can drastically impact your monthly budget without any warning whatsoever.
To summarize all of this, the modern consumer's challenge has completely shifted. It is no longer about finding the perfect dream car to just put in your driveway and polish on Sundays. The new goal is finding the exact right mobility formula, whether that's the dual-track strategy, long-term renting, or strategic buying, to actually protect your wallet. We just have to be smart enough to prevent a simple summer thunderstorm or a cracked piece of high-tech glass from turning into a massive financial drain.
Which leaves us with a final, really vital question to think about. How will you adapt your mobility to this new world? Are you going to stick to traditional owning and just risk the elements? Or are you ready to embrace renting and the dual-track method? I'd absolutely love to know what you think about this topic, so please share your thoughts and let us know your strategy. Thank you so much for listening to this explainer and taking the time to dive deep into this fascinating shift with me today. Stay smart out there on the roads.